And here we go. We are live. I feel a little bit rusty. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done one of these. Welcome to another episode of Real Dad Movement, our podcast. What an incredible platform to connect and to reach out to fathers. I get a lot of feedback. We've had well over 15,000 downloads at this stage of recording this, which is amazing. Big thank you to all of you. Don't ever forget, if you ever need anything, please reach out, alex@realdadmovement.com.au. Our latest release is Tribal. If you're watching the video, I'm just reaching back. I'm going to grab this book here, Tribal, The Power of Environment. It's an incredibly influential book because what it does is it allows you the opportunity to see how much your immediate environment, people, places, and things, more often than not people, some close to us, some with our best interest at heart, others with alternative agendas, how much of an influence and change it can create in your life. But that's what today's episode is about. Now, look, I've done plenty of episodes where we've dived into environment, both with other dads and special guests, and also on my own. But with this one, it's really a recap of what was, and I like saying this word, but it truly was, what was a phenomenal event. It really was phenomenal. I mean, this is something where, for me, I'm on the go, I'm moving all the time. There's always something I'm pushing. And it's not that I'm never happy or continuously unsatisfied. It's just I have a hunger for growth like you wouldn't believe. And I'm not sure if that's a pattern or a conditioning side of me. I don't even know if that's a bad thing. I know if I continually have that from a place of love in my heart and serving others, obviously fathers. I mean, I live and breathe and I bleed RDM and I bleed for RDM, and this is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. So maybe it's a good thing, but the point is, for myself, I don't have a huge amount of time where I kick back and just be still and reflect on the past. I take time where I kick back, I take time where I'm still, I take time where I create space for myself, sure, but to actually really sit back and go, have a look at what you've created, Al. And not alone. I'm not here just to claim glory on my own. And we've got, oh, don't you worry, we've got a lot in the works and we're just warming up in terms of building this monstrous empire that is RDM. And when I say empire, I'm including all of you. I'm including fathers. It's not my empire, it's ours. It's for dads. It's for dads in this country, in Australia, to be served and to have a place that is their home. And I guess having 3 kids under 5, and after doing the event, going away on a holiday, I had some time to reflect, although it's not really a holiday, is it, when you go away with kids that are probably at the age of 13 or under, because of either the fights that I've seen and I've been engaged with my brothers when I was younger, or when they're super young, like my kids, which are 12 weeks, 18 months, and 4 years of age. Man, it was a nightmare some days. And I say that with the utmost respect. If my wife does watch or listen to these, I'm not sure if she does, but that doesn't matter anyway. The truth always wins. I'm about being transparent with this. And I told her that. I said, man, this does not feel like a holiday at the moment. We went away for 10 days, and obviously Kosciuszko was a huge event. I loved it. It was incredible. It really was. And riding your natural high, obviously there's going to come a bit of a low mentally, because whilst it was great to get away and just spend one-on-one time with the dads and the tight-knit group of the inner circle of RDM, it was still tiring, and it was work for me. Now, work's a great thing. I love work, but it was work. You know, I was delivering, I was listening, I was filtering and giving feedback. And it was so powerful, man. Like, you guys will see snippets and bits and pieces. Some you won't, because it's personal, it's for us only. And then that's the privilege of being part of the inner circle in RDM. What I saw, and I'm serious, I didn't get much sleep. The last 3 days of the holiday, went away for a week and a half after with the family up to Queensland. The last 3 or 4 days I got some sleep, it was all right. But what I saw when I had some moments to sit back and reflect on my life over the last few years was creation. And the theme of this, built around environment and the event in Kosciuszko, as I wrap up this intro, which has gone for a few minutes, is recognition of action. I'm naturally an optimistic man. And it's not that I blindly see the good in everything, but I'm naturally optimistic. But that optimism has always been driven by action in my life as a fat, overweight, depressed boy who, you know, when I say I had suicidal thoughts, there was never the intent that I followed through, but there was always that, you know, I shouldn't even be here. I'm worthless. Maybe I should end it. So, I say that, you know, not in jest, but not with serious intent. But there was some really dangerous mental moments when I was very young. Then I got bullied and I was overweight and felt very depressed. Loving parents, they probably didn't know half the time as well. But riding through that to becoming an elite athlete, to 9 operations over 6 years, to failed businesses and then flourishing businesses, and then both in between, to being a father for the first time, to breakdowns or hardships with relationships with friends, family, my wife. Man, the one thing that's always shone through is, one, standing up for what I believe, coupled with, two, having an open perspective and not just seeing things one way, my way. But thirdly, taking action, having the ability and the desire to change, the desire to take action. It's not something you just click your fingers and she'll be right, mate, you're away. Recognition of action is what drives the optimism in my life. If you fuck up or do certain things and you're part of my tribe and you don't back it up with actions or show a follow through and intent to change, well, I'm not going to be optimistic for you. How can I? This is your life. It's your choice, your decisions. It lives and dies with you. I'm merely here as an influential role to help you get out of your own way and to see the version you can become. And I said that. I closed that out, whether you're a member of RDM listening to this or not. I closed out our event with this, and I said it 3 times in a row, and I looked at every single father square in the eyes, and I said, I love and respect you for who you currently are, but I only continue to see you for who you can become. Let me just say that one more time. I love and respect all of you for who you currently are, but I only see you for who you can become and who you continue to become. That's an incredibly grateful gift that I feel I have, whilst it can be hard because I wear my heart on my sleeve and I cop some flack sometimes from, people who obviously don't know me or don't understand me or RDM. And there are viruses all over the world. There's poison all over the world. I can't live there, but it does affect me initially because, man, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I put everything out there for these fathers, for these men. But when I say it's a grateful thing to have for myself, it's because I see the opportunity, I see the possibilities and the potential. This is combined and connected with today's episode talking about Kosci, with environment and recognition of action. What an unbelievable event. I'm looking through, I've got pictures on my computer here. We're breaking them all down. You're probably going to see about another 400 different types of ads from RDM just sharing our stories and whatnot. But it really was an incredible thing to sit at the top of, to be at the highest point. Like every single day, when he got up there, he was sitting on that little pillar up the top there. You are the tallest person in Australia. Obviously without aerial support if you're on hang gliders or airplanes and helicopters, but that's the truth. You are the tallest and highest person in this country. And I didn't even say that. We knew it and we recognized it, and we had a bit of a guard of honor for Wayne. Unbelievable, 170 kilos, and he made it. He did not stop. He did not give up. And I'm not using his weight as a buffer to say, he made it because he was this heavy. It's hard yakka. Like for some of the dads, yeah, there wasn't really a concern that they would fail or not. But then for other dads with either, we tried to build some conditioning in their programs, but with some challenging periods with either injuries, niggles, or the sheer volume and conditioning. Like it is a 14K turnaround. It's not easy. It's very windy. The temperature wasn't too bad, but it can get quite chilly. It wasn't easy, but for Wayne to never give up and get up the top of that fucking mountain, man, it was unbelievable. For all of the dads, symbolism, you are the tallest. You're at the highest point. You as a person, someone connected to that mountain, because you're part of it. The mountain can't exist without you and vice versa. You are the highest point in Australia. It was very emotional. And look, we all shed a tear over the weekend in an event that wasn't built around hype and techno music. I mean, my DJ was a stereo player, and I'm certainly not downplaying what we have. I mean, this is something where next year will become an even bigger blockbuster event, but this was real with purpose and not something that was built around manipulation or hype or pure motivation. This was real fucking life, man, with real life dads going through some real hard shit, some physical challenges, some mental challenges, some educational pieces, some connection points where we're building in themselves with other fathers inside of RDM, with their families, and how to navigate through their life. Because that's what this is about. There's no rule book on life. We're all navigating and finding our way as we continue to find our way. It's quite an amazing thing when you think about it. So to stop and be present, to look back and see what we've created inside of RDM, I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so proud of everyone who's taken that step and is a part of RDM. And I'm so proud of our coaches and everyone who supports us, because this is a universal message that must be heard and must be actioned to build and level up and evolve us as a community, as a people, as a society, as a family, as individuals, as lovers, partners, fathers, workers, colleagues, business owners, bosses. This is a critical space and a critical time in this world that we're entering, where fathers need something at the highest level, not fluff and washy bullshit and 4-week dad bod challenges and mindset coaches and life coaches. This is something, and I know the dads in jest, they call me, they say my mindset coaching is amazing. They call some of the dads stir me and call me a life coach. And awesome. Yeah, of course, I help you change your life, but you do it, you take the action. But what I'm talking about is we are not the standard. We're not a standard institutionalized, go and read these courses or study this and you're certified. Off you go, mate. Go change some lives. This is the real fucking grit, man. We are listening and breathing and reflecting and guiding and harnessing the hardships, the challenges, the beautiful points in a man's life and saying, hey, mate, give yourself a pat on the back for that. That's pretty hard. And you made it. You broke through that. Give yourself a big fucking pat on the back for that. That's not easy. Where you stood up, 99 fell down. Don't you worry about that. And helping the man consistently find what he deems to be, which continues to be a discovery process because he levels up and his eyes change and his perception changes, his true north. That's what Kosciuszko was. It was symbolism for a real true north, reaching your new peak. That was the theme of this. Because when you reach and level up and find a new version of who you are, guess what? That's your new baseline, man. You're ready to rock and roll again. And it doesn't mean you stop and breathe, or you don't stop and breathe. You absolutely stop and breathe. It doesn't mean that you don't stop and look back at where you've come from. It doesn't mean you just keep pushing forward and doing the same thing. You adjust the course, you adjust the sails, and you renegotiate with yourself what it is that you desire in your life and what's important, and you go again. Otherwise, why are we still here, right? If perfection existed, none of us need to even be here anymore. Kosciuszko was something that, through a few days of different challenges, physical and mental, it was the pinnacle of what's been quite a chaotic year. And it has been. And as we wrap this up at the time of recording, this is the 14th of December. We've got 17 days left. When you break that down into 1,000 minutes a day, you've got 17,000 minutes, which gives you just under 300 hours of 2020 left awake. How does that make you feel? A couple of hundred hours left. 2020. It's so slow. There's so much bullshit and trauma and chaos and everything's going on around the world. Everything's going on in Australia, in different states. And yet here we are, sitting on top of infinity. And it's a funny term to get your head around, but when you think about the present moment and the now, it's all that really exists, isn't it? It's quite interesting. So when we did Kosciuszko, what we did with Kosciuszko is have and build a purpose around it to go, hey, how can we help the man connect at layers deeper, at a level greater than what he's currently connected to us, to the group of RDM, to themselves, to their families, by finding a greater level of purpose. Purpose can't come without reflection. There's measurements. We need to measure ourselves not through judgment of outcomes, but through judgment of actions. Measure ourselves against the standards that we hold, what we choose to tolerate, what we don't tolerate. Coming into the Christmas period, you get a box of favorites, everyone gets them, fucking re-gift them, throw them out, do whatever you need to do. Like if your standard is allowing things to creep into your life, I'm not saying we need to live as a saint, but if it's allowing things to creep into your life that pulls you down into the same patterns and version of who you are, that's exactly where you'll remain. But another year will go. So you actually don't stay the same, you change for the worse because you're chewing up more fuel, more time in your life. You've only got one, don't waste your turn, with a version of you that is your baseline that you've already reached. And how long ago did you reach that? 3 months? Probably not. 3 years, 6 years, maybe 15 years for some of you. This event, catching up, having our sessions in our conference room, the energy in the air was intense. It was lighthearted. We had plenty of jokes, plenty of laughs. It was a beautiful blend of everything that I encompassed what should be. I say an event, but a gathering, a coming together. Something that really draws in the greatest things that I've ever pulled from a team, and that bleeding for each other out on the battlefield, all the way through to the lighthearted nature of going, hey, you know what? Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive. But also going, well, actually, you are living in the now and you're experiencing the now. So you might already be dead. You just haven't been buried yet, right? Because of the standards you're setting, which leads to a level of regret, which leads to a level of lack of opportunity and experiences with your children, experiences you'll never get back as they age through their own time and journey, experiences with your wife that you'll never get back, or your partner that you'll never get back. So when we're hitting our sessions inside of Kosciuszko, it was incredible to see immediately everyone on the same page right from the get-go. This is it. This is us. Game on. I didn't need to set up big facades or build any level of hype. This was with an intent to go, you are here for a reason. Let's find that. Let's carve out your new peak and let's start heading towards it now. We don't need to wait for January 1, like 92% of the population that fails when they make New Year's resolutions. What a crock of shit. If you're going to take anything away from this session, take this. Do not set plans on January 1st. And don't be a smart ass and do it on January 2nd either. That won't work. This is something where right now, even the middle of December, we are already setting the wheels in motion. We've started this in October. The peak, the pinnacle was Kosciuszko at the end of November, which gave us a greater lens, a greater scope with a wide range to see what is possible. And that comes about from being in the right environment. I talk about the conference room, the mountain biking we did, where we had some bikes, were e-bikes, some were the standard, the warriors on the standard bikes. I tell you what, we had a crazy trek that we didn't reach the end. It was supposed to take us through to a hut. It was 30 Ks away, 30 Ks turnaround, sorry. And it was a challenging grind, man. Like the very first hill on the road before we even reached the dirt track, I'm on an e-bike pumping away and it wasn't even on. I was like, what's going on here? I've got a bike that's 20 kilos heavier and my own mindset and my own legs are burning on this hill that had about a 60-degree incline. It was unbelievable. Very challenging. Probably wasn't 60, probably was like 40, but it felt like 60. These physical and mental engagements brought about a specific environment and a recognition of action. You are here, you are now, and you are experiencing life. You will see as we roll out photos, you will see as we roll out videos, a snippet through 2D, really, when you're looking at a piece of technology and following through, and when you're listening and seeing the energy and the intensity that was experienced. Can you imagine being there? It was unbelievable. It really was. Because through the recognition of action of climbing that mountain, and when I say climb, yes, we might not have been on all fours, but it was still a challenging feat. It's not like a mountain that just has an incredibly high peak, but it is a journey. It took us a few hours to get there and a few hours to get back. But this is something where we're recognizing the actions of a man to go, hey, this is my point A, I must get to point B. And Wayne Phillips was an amazing example of that. This large man who has an unbelievable attitude, he said, I'm getting to the top. There is nothing that is stopping me. Yeah, some of the dads made it earlier. We all went back. We went back for him, and then some, stayed with him the whole time. But when he came on, we all formed the guard of honor. Even the people up there, it's probably about 100 of us. We went earlier in the day, up around the top. Everyone was applauding this. Wayne was symbolism for overcoming that fucking devil inside to go, no, not today. That little version inside, no, not you. You shut your mouth. I'm here now. I'm the boss. I'm the king. This is my kingdom. This is my castle. This is my palace. You will not enter me and win today. That's what Wayne was symbolism for. And we all recognize that action, which reinforced the environment. You got to think about this with RDM. Like you've got an environment of fathers, and look, there's only been a couple of cases where there's been poison that has flown under the radar, so to speak. Every single father comes through me. All of your phone calls are with me. I don't have a sales team. I don't believe I need one because they all come through me. And that's where we really filter and process the culture of this community. It's incredible. I wouldn't have it any other way. So whilst we've had a couple of bag eggs that got removed almost immediately, because they were found out. We have an unbelievable culture because of that. Because no dad gets left behind that is adhering to the community and the tribe of seeking greatness, supporting each other, and becoming the best version you can be. Which means when you've got that, the tribe comes first. The tribe trumps everything. Yes, we have your nutrition, your training, your vision, your goals, your personal approach, your coaching calls and check-ins, your dream teams. You know, the coaching sessions every single day on your mindset, building the inner framework to be that big fucking titan to handle everything it's thrown at you. That is all super important and at the highest level with RDM, but it can't be enhanced and influenced to the greatest level to have a compounding effect in your life without the right environment, the tribe. You've got these men, many of them have never met before. They come from North Queensland, all the way through to Victoria. We've got dads in Tassie, Adelaide, and Perth. Those dads didn't get a chance to make it this time around, but we will run a 2021 Kosciuszko event. And it's amazing to see these fathers who've never met each other before, but because of the online presence and the connection that we have every single day and moving our lives forward 1%, but moving forward with each other, with a tribe, it was unbelievable to see the tight-knit nature and group that was here and the shares, the depth, what we were talking about, what we were expressing in our personal lives, with our relationships, with our past, our history. It was incredible. It wasn't, and I'm not here to bag out other events or other people, places, or things. To truth be told, I don't really dive into many of them or record or watch or take part in them, because for me, it's what we envision from the inside out of what fathers need and want, and we create. I'm not here to copy or mimic anyone, but this wasn't something where we hyped up or manipulated the senses to get someone just to shed a few tears and say, hey, this is my story. It's just some fucking powerful stuff, man. Something that, good or bad, many people will never experience. And that's the truth. And that's okay. Like I can't create this experience for everyone. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this experience. I would destroy myself as well, including RDM. Like, this experience that we had is very, very rare and unique. And all of the dads, not me, the other members. And I get it. People can't see what's RDM. And it's almost like a different answer every single time, because I don't want one universal script. But the answer, whilst different every single time, is the exact same thing. But the foundation of that, same with these dads, and they're saying to me, how when people ask me to explain RDM, I just don't think they'll ever get it, mate, without being on the inside. I talk about the tribe and community and connection and support and all this sort of stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's a support group. And I'm like, well, no, it's not really. It's like that on steroids times 500. And they just won't get it, Al. And I'm like, I know. It's hard. Whilst it's probably our greatest selling point, it's a point you can't sell. Because it almost comes down, and this might sound cliche or corny, but it comes down to a case of you must believe for you to be able to see. You've got to believe in yourself first. You've got to believe in RDM. And when we open the doors, man, you see the insides of RDM and this culture and this community. It's phenomenal. It really is. When you have that environment, like we had at Kosciuszko, this had a ripple effect to the fathers who didn't get to make Kosciuszko, and it lifted the group. We had 24, 25 dads thereabouts, 24 or 25. We originally had 29. Unfortunately, a few pulled out to injury. It was a great group. Next year, we'll have double. But it was a great group to kick off my first main event with RDM. I've done plenty of little events. Back in the days when I owned gyms, I ran events with 1,500 people. Running events is not something that's foreign to me, but this really meant something. And that's no disrespect to previous events I've run with my gyms. This was a stand. This was putting our stake in the ground and going, hey, we're fucking here, man. And we are here to build. We're here to build our lives. We're here to build our families. We're here to build our communities. And we're here to build a level of inspiration that so many fathers that we may never even meet will become inspired, maybe not to join RDM, maybe not to reach out, but they'll be inspired enough to just tweak their life and get it 5% better. That's great. Awesome. You don't have to be a high flyer. You don't have to be in the VIP, the inner circle. Just moving forward enough can have that little ripple effect on that father's connection with his daughter, or how he adjusts his temperament and nature with the missus when he comes home and shit hits the fan. These are the things that you will never see or hear, but are ingrained in us through a sheer shift and change in energy for the better. That's what Kosciuszko was like. We're out on the golf course, wrapping up at a couple of amazing days, having our dinners at night time, having a laugh, letting the hair down, going for a walk around the golf course, kicking the footies around, talking, walking. The energy is something that you all have an intrinsic feel with. And when I say intrinsic, I mean inside, internal, like your instincts, your nature. Although instincts in a different definition, something that's quick fire, survival, flight or fight. I'm talking about an intrinsic awareness. That knowing. You can feel it. Like you walk into a room and someone's staring at you, but you can't even see them, or you can feel energy. This isn't woo-woo, this isn't crazy shit. This is environment. When you feel a level of energy, and you have that at a reasonably high level through technology, what we do in RDM, it's incredible. Like people feel the energy. Like you can feel the energy of this podcast. You can feel a level of intent and a specific frequency or wavelength of energy from what I'm speaking right here and now. Imagine having that by audio, voice, by video, by message, by text, by email, by person, training, we're doing mobility sessions, doing mindset sessions, overcoming feats like Kosciuszko, like the crazy mountain bike ride that we did. These are all levels of energy that not only create and enhance the opportunity for a better life and for you to level up, but it creates an unbelievable experience in the now. What are we, 26 minutes in? You wouldn't be listening to this right now if you didn't have some sort of connection. And this is my point. Through a recognition of action and through having the right environment that will influence your internal belief system, that internal belief system, which gets sparked like ignition, like the alternator in a car. I think it's an alternator that starts the car anyway. That ignition gets the wheels in motion and gets the action moving, which means the recognition of action becomes greater. So guess what? When that happens, the reinforcement of a belief becomes enhanced even more. This is the chain reaction, which becomes that ripple effect, which also becomes cyclical, I guess. Cyclical. When we're looking at this, this becomes your circle of life. I'm talking about chain reactions. I'm talking about ripples. If you want to really speak about this in a true sense, this is the cycle. This is your identity cycle. This is your life cycle. You have the right environment. It influences a spark, a trigger, an ignition inside of you that engages and initiates action. That action reinforces your belief system, your competency, which then ignites another spark, or you contribute and add value to the environment. The environment gives back to you. This is what we see. And when you have that, you have the most powerful thing that we can ever have in this world. It's not love. Love is an emotion. Love is an energy. It's connection. Connection is a deeper energy than anyone will ever have. And yes, obviously it has love in it. It has all kinds of different emotions, but connection. When you're connected to something, you are more invested in life. And nothing, I'm telling you right now, mate, nothing can change that. And you wouldn't trade that for anything. Kosciuszko was an incredible event. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me in my heart, in my spirit, my will, my desire to level up and continually build and develop what is a movement that I feel blessed that found me, that I'm blessed to be part of because of the men here as well. It goes hand in hand. We create this together. And if I'm going to say one thing, we'll obviously do some more podcasts. I'm back. You get a few more podcasts rolling, don't worry. I want to do 2 a week consistently. But if I'm going to say one thing, as we wind up 2020, the first year of the decade of dads, 2020 to 2030. And then we'll have another decade of dads, 2030 to 2040. As we wrap up this first year, know this, you've got 6,083 hours every year. That's all you have. 6,000 hours every year awake. 6,000 hours. That's all you have. That is all you have. Funnily enough, even though it's a bigger number, it seems smaller than 365 days, doesn't it? If you're going to take one thing away from this, don't fuck around, don't waste time. Find that which you are connected to and build a level of action and ignite the spark that builds that belief system. You can do more. You are worthy. You can back yourself. None of us are different from you. None of these dads are different from you. None of these dads were different from each other. When they started, they showed a level of commitment and they moved forward. Amazing. Does that mean you need to do that with RDM? Absolutely not. Will you be connected with RDM? Probably. Do you need to be connected at a level to become a member? Absolutely not. I never push or pressure anyone. What I'm saying is for you, man, in your own life, member or not, listening to this, build that level of action and that recognition of action by reflecting, going, look how far I've come, look what I've actually achieved and done, but also backing that up with having the right environment in your corner, whether it's getaways or not, physical events, events online, doesn't matter. Find that which you are connected to that can help you physically and mentally move forward in your life to have pinnacle moments where you've got peaks and you've got troughs, but the troughs are leveling out, which are higher than the best version you were last year, year before that. So even though your troughs, your down moments where you're feeling like shit sometimes, still greater than the greatest feeling you had in the previous version of who you are. That to me is growth. That's leveling up. We can all reach a peak. We can all hit a peak of something. But when we raise the bar of that peak, the trough lifts too, which means you don't go back into the pit. You level out and you go again. And that's what this was about. That's what Kosciuszko was about. And that is what RDM is about. Consistently seeking growth. This is a leadership and performance group. This is a leadership and performance movement. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as I did a bit of a wrap up on Kosy. We had some amazing shares, a lot of deep diving, a lot of personal shares, a lot of recognition of others, not just themselves, shitload of laughs and a lot of banter. I think I got bullied a little bit by a couple of members. It was quite funny, hacking shit on me, but this is what I love. I mean, yes, I've got dress shirts, and I can dress to the nines, or I can wear some casual polos like I've got right here and now. And most of the time, I just wear gear that says RDM. That's why I wear it. That's why I love my button-up shirts. But I'm raw and real. You want to dive in and challenge me or challenge my integrity or who I am, I can flick on a dime and go from a joke to go, hey, this is who I am. This is my fucking intent in the world, and this is what I stand for. That's easy for me. I don't need to put walls up. I'm not saying people who have Rolexes and fancy cars are bad people at all. What I'm saying is this entire movement is built off the first word, real. And that's all we'll ever live and be and stand for. And when we couple that with growth, anyone who comes into our environment, they certainly won't lose, they'll win. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Tune in for another episode soon of our Real Dad Movement podcast. Kosciuszko wrap up was incredible. I'll roll out a lot of media. Make sure you check out Facebook pages, Real Dad Movement, Instagram page, and also the different platforms that we have. This our YouTube channel. Like I said, for the month of December and January, I am rolling out the Tribal Power of Environment. The Tribal book is yours for free. You can have that. It's got the audio book, the ebook, and the videos, the coaching videos. You'll set up your own membership portal. It's completely free. You have it for life. It will help you understand what I've been explaining here 10 times over, because the power of the tribe and the power of environment is the greatest thing that will influence you towards a life of legacy and leadership or a life of regret. Take care, and I'll see you soon on another episode. Cheers.